Has everyone obviously got their raffle tickets if you needed any? I'm sure you've had enough time. Before Ben starts the meeting, Bev, stay there. Does everyone know Bev? Yeah, okay. Oh, well, that's easy then.
You're supposed to go, yes.
One, two.
I really miss her. Oh my God, where has she been all my life? That's what you got to say.
For those who don't know Bev, this is the lovely Bev. We haven't seen Bev for about 10 years. No, at least a year. Bev was on the committee for 37 years, 40, no, 50 years. Oh, 14. Yes. As treasurer and secretary at one point. That was before my time secretary, I think. Memberships, and pretty much anything. So it's lovely to see you here. Thank you for coming along. And how is Dave? Good. That is good. Well, say hello to Dave from us all. Are we? Looks like we have started streaming, so welcome everybody. Sorry about the big muck around. It was my fault in the beginning I hadn't mentioned to Tara before she'd sent out the email that we'd changed it to 5, and then she quickly sent another one out, but it appears not everybody has got it. I often, for some reason, don't get the email, so I received the email to say it changed to 5, so I thought, oh, well, that's good. Everyone would have got it. If I got it, everyone would have got it, but it doesn't appears that's not the case. So thank you all for hanging around and putting up with it. I'm sure it'll be worth it. Ooh. Is that locked?
There is a free feed afterwards.
There is a free feed afterwards, absolutely. Oh, so it must have been rattling. You're on, Ben? We're on? Yeah, good. Terrific. So look, thank you all for coming along. It's been a long year, a good year. We've had a number of great speakers throughout the year, and it's fitting that we can finish the year off with Barry and Julie to talk about their journey. Everybody would know Barry and Julie. Just about everyone in aviculture would know Barry and Julie. So have them here to share Christmas dinner with us and give us a bit of a presentation afterwards. So, look, there's nothing really from me at the moment. I will pass you over to Jude, and she'll talk a lot. There's a bit of information to talk about.
Is it?
Yeah, I think, yeah. And then, because as most of you know, there is a new Hagen importer. I don't know if he's trustworthy, but no, Scott will give a little bit of a talk about what they're aiming to do and with being the new distributor. So, and that must be for me. Right, terrific. All right, here, Jude.
Look, it is great. What a good turnout. And I do appreciate that you did hang around, because I probably wouldn't have. But anyway, yeah, I brought Bev down, and she was the treasurer for 14 years before me. So she's taught me everything I don't know, and I'm still learning, and I make apologies for the way I doing this, but I don't mind, and the club's in the black, so something okay. So I'm not going to bore you. He thinks I talk too much. I just talk the right amount. So what I'm going to do is do simple things, the bank balances first. So for today, the bank balances that sit today is memberships are at $4,375.15. Now that looks spectacular, but I just want to say we have not paid for the calendar yet. Okay, and we have not paid for the magazine that is hitting the post boxes now, right? And those together combined, and remember we had a little survey a couple of months ago about whether we should keep the calendar or whether we drop back another, magazine article, blah, blah, blah. And we were surprised actually that people said, no, we want the calendar. But I have got to tell you that calendar costs $4,595. So, and there is not that money in the memberships. So memberships run, and that's just the calendar, right? That's 800 copies of the calendar. And the magazine, there's 800 copies of the calendar, the magazine, which is also 4,529 for the spring edition, plus 2,500 for Hannah to, make it pretty, do the design, right? So that's a lot. I just want you as members to realise that the magazine costs a fortune, probably $27,000 a year. And I beg your pardon? Hey, you know what, Jules? I was thinking that myself too. Every year I buy 10 calendars, and because it goes towards the trust. So I give them to all my old friends and young friends. Half of them are passed away now. But I still love giving it because it's beautiful, right? And I've still got 12 years ago I bought my first one and I've still got it because I'm a hoarder, but don't hold that against me. But that is something we could look at if we all bought it. It's like $10. And then you have a few extras to buy for friends. Julie, that's a great idea, but I had it first. Okay, so that is something that we just do need to discuss again. And of course the magazine's beautiful and we don't want to decrease the pages because it is a beautiful magazine and it's got lots of good stuff in it. And so we don't want to lose quality just because we can't afford it, but that is a good solution, I think. All right, so after I pay that bill, which is due the 6th of January, the membership will have 0 in it. But it might have a few more. But we have up to 600 and something members. It's just holding its head, above water, just through the year, and then you get a big one. And our hugest bill for memberships is Australia Post. So that runs into thousands and thousands of dollars just to get the magazines out. So yes, so that's what's happening with the memberships account. So the sales accounts, which are the shop, and I think the shop has really, really helped us out a lot. Anybody that went to the shop 2 years ago, can see the difference. And it's just run beautifully. It's clean. It's got great stuff. We've got a good manager. We've got lovely people. We've got fabulous volunteers. It's like I am so proud of the shop. And this is the first time Bev's ever seen it. Do you think it's a good shop, Bev? Yeah, it's just beautiful. So in the sales account, it's got $10,604 in it. But that is because I have paid basically everything. Even January's rent is paid, which is $2,500. All the bills that were paid right up to the end of the year, all paid. So the shop is going great, and I'm so happy to have a floater of 10 grand in it. Events, which is all about the convention, we're just tucking money aside, and we took a couple of thousand out to pay for Kedra and Wavell, the deposit, right? So that was $2 grand. So that's why the events is a little bit small. And then yeah, she's sick of us. That's all right. Get that woman a glass of water, will you? Someone, please. I'm serious. She has asthma. And so then into the trust, which is another thing that we're all going to have a big discussion about one day. I don't want to bore you, but the trust is something that was created. God, it's too late. I'm sorry. Okay. No, we really, really do need to talk about the trust, and we all need to understand why it was created and what its purpose was. because we've got this amazing vessel and we're just not doing right by it. So we need to have great promoters out there. We need people to advocate for it and get money. People need to know that it exists and that they will leave money in their wills to it. They'll do whatever they do, even if it's 1% of your will, which is, you know, God, even 10 grand. And it's all to do with conservation. This whole trust is all about conservation. It must go to conservation, and we do donate every other year. But the thing is, I think we could do better. We need to talk about it more, and we need to generate more funds. You know, from politicians, from fancy people that know about these things, who've got more money than they know what to do with. So that's the trust. But at the moment, it is sitting at 48,676, which is brilliant. We're going to stick it in a term deposit. We have someone that we've got in mind that we're going to donate to, but you'll hear all about that at the convention. So, but yes, we want to build on that money and we want to keep it rolling because it's a good thing. Okay, so of course we've got a big feed on today, and it's all because we love you, and we love that you come and you've supported us through years and years and years, obviously. That's very, very good. And then I've got I'll try and make this quick because this is the boring bit. This is the shop manager's report. Okay, it's not. So it is good. This year, the shop continued to support the club in a steady way. We processed 100 more orders than last year with an increase in the average order value. Together, this resulted in a 12% increase in gross sales. So, I mean, any business that can grow like that is pretty good, I think. The shop processed 150 memberships during the year. Of those, 104 were new members. So we've got Annette in Townsville. She's a wonderful committee membership lady, but with Tara on board as well, and they can process it when a new person comes in the door. Whooshka, they're just signed up, they get their discount, happy days. Give them an old magazine and everyone's happy. So this shows the shop continues to be a strong point of contact for new people joining the club. Our top selling item was 20 kilo peach face, followed by leg rings. So these are really good sellers. The biggest profit again came from Tops pellets. But that's also great because Parrot Supplies Australia is the Australian importer. So that really helps. And so we make good money on that, which is all good for the club. On the staffing side, Adrian, most of you would have known him if you come to these things. He was studying to be a teacher, so he's finished his studies. And so after heading off to go on a little holiday, he's going to start his career in education. Nick, but yeah, his last day was today, so somebody might have seen him. He was here till 2. Nikki is back covering Mondays, and if any of you want to work on a Saturday, you can just come up and talk to me later. You can have a nice little job. So we have 3 great volunteers at the moment who are greatly appreciated for the help they provide. And really, Tara loves you and just so grateful for your help, as we all are. And in January, there's more volunteers who've decided to sign up, which is great. So overall, the shop had a solid year with good growth and ongoing support from the club, for the club. So Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to everyone. I'm really grateful that you don't boo me and hiss me and carry on, because I really do love this role, and I think this club is great, and and you members are the reason. Okay, so that's it. Oh yeah, and you can join the committee if you want, because then I can leave. No, it'd be fabulous. So Kim, have you got anything to say? This is our love.
So I would just like to advocate again what Jude said, that joining as a committee member and a volunteer it's actually pretty fun. I've been doing this now since February, and I will admit that I feel I've been quite carried in the role, which is lovely. However, supported while I have other commitments going on, but please do consider it, especially when nominations come up shortly. And if you have not yet purchased your convention ticket, please do.
I wore it out. You got to talk right into it.
I didn't say too much important other than please purchase people convention tickets as Christmas presents.
That's a good idea. idea. Okay, back to Brent.
Thank you. Just on the calendar, that we'll have discussions about that further down the track. We were assured through the printing that it would have been in mailboxes last week, and I got advised the other day that it was going in either yesterday or Thursday. So apologies for that. It was meant to be, Kerry had it done a couple of weeks early, and it's been with them for a while, and it just hasn't. This time of year may be busy for them doing other stuff, I don't know. But they do know it's coming all the time, so... certainly with the convention, the magazine that'll come out with it has the list of speakers and a little bit of a bio, I think, or a little bit of a profile. So it'll be interesting. There'll be some very interesting speakers that you may not have obviously heard about, so it'll be good to be able to have a bit of a read about them a little bit and hopefully spark your interest to certainly attend. Look, sorry, that's my alarm at home. And again, I won't continue anymore. Thank you all again for coming, and please stay around for a meal after we listen to our guest speakers. So, without any more, I think anybody got any questions for the moment? If not, look, have a chat to us later. If you do, Barry and Julie, would you like to come up and look? Welcome, Barry and Julie Blanche. So, you want to stand, sit? What would you like to do?
Go down here somewhere. No, we'll stand over here. Turn the lights out.
Can't be bothered going through it all.
Get the top ones off too. Good evening, everybody. We're not used to doing these together. I'm used to doing most of them on my own, but it's a bit shared today. That's it really come to be a bit of a reality when I saw this advertised on Facebook, and I wasn't sure of the photo, but that was taken in the Czech Republic in front of Milan and Jana's gang flights, and looks like Julie's just escaped from the nursing home, and I've rescued her. But yeah, she's. But anyway, next one.
They can't see that I'm holding it.
Now, we moved to a property near Rosewood. We bought 3 acres valued at $2,000 in 1979, and there was nothing there. I actually ploughed up the back half of the block to level it all off, and yeah. Then we built a home in 1980. A.B. Jennings Special, cost $33,000, and interest was 17%, and we paid it off at $280 a month for 10 years, and it was ours.
And what were we earning each month?
We weren't earning great money, but it was.
Not enough to feed the kids. 2 kids.
That was me mowing a bit of grass with my eldest daughter and third daughter. And we had a fence across the back. We rented half the block out to a lady with a couple of horses. And then
I'm going to butt in here. That little picture with Rachel on the mower, he had a little secret. He came to me and he said, I said, what are you doing with the ute? And I soon found out because
these arrived on the back of his ute, and I said, "What are you doing with those?" And he said, "Well, Rachel needs them little birds to play with."
Anyway, I bought them second hand for about $300 and put them up and out in the back paddock, and yeah, it served the purpose for a little while. That was some old aviaries we had behind the house. I did have some Absco aviaries, next photo, but I had all the birds in. I ended up putting red rumps in some of these flights and crimson wings, and when the red rumps tried to breed, they killed nearly a disaster, so I needed more. The Absco, you can see them, they're hiding behind the tree there, but we had a mini tornado come through one night and took the whole lot. All that left was the dyno bolts and the bottom bar on the thing, and everything was gone.
Including our peacocks that were held, and they were sitting on the back. We had a, what do you call it, a pergola at the back, and they were nesting on that, and they went into these cages, and they went up into the, in the cages into the trees, and that was it.
But anybody that knows our place, that across the house, but we got it all done up now, but I'll show you some photos further on. Next one. In 1980, I went to a sale. Julie with me because she had to do the bidding, you know. And
She bought the birds because he told me, I didn't know what to do with it. He gave me this paddle. It was an auction, and I said, "What do I do with this?" And he said, "When I tip you, you put it up." So I'm going like this.
she bought all these birds, and we had nothing to put them in. And the sale, they sold the aviaries, so 20 something. And lifted in, but the crane
Is buried.
we had to get an escalator. We did do some on the front. If anybody knows him, it's John Speggin. Next one. That's a couple of years later. There was a set of 11 on the left, and the others there were all full of near-femurs and pinchers. We did have two. Next one. That set of 8 that we carried in, we used to keep lots of Australian parrots in them. And there's some more. Next one.
We bred all the broadtails.
Next one. That's one of my daughters in front of the flights. That would have been 1986 or something like that. Then in 1989, I built this habitat. I went to Brisbane and bought the of deep sea diamond prawn net that they used, Expo 88, and we stretched it over and put it on there, and I planted it and put a few parrots, nibbled the double diamond deep sea prawn net and put little holes in it.
And we had it planted, as you can see, and these birds started disappearing. And we couldn't work out where they were going until we went out and had a good look. And I'm sorry to say, I did not get a photo of this giant cat in the right up the top, and he was getting them.
After a few years, the net perished and the cat ripped a hole in it, a stray cat. This is another photo. And in front of where our aviaries are now, we used to have all slash pine trees. We had about 80 of them planted all around the property, and we had a terrible drought, and because our soil is high plasticity, it cracked the root system and the whole lot died. That's just inside the habitat. Now, 1991, You can see part of the old wooden aviary still there, and I decided I'd build bigger. So we started building a big flight. Wide flight.
A community flight for all the finches that he had. Just down the end. I will tell you a funny story about that, because he had in between, and between the wooden ones, and you can just see them. Anyway, Barry went out there one day, and I was heavily pregnant, and he said, "There's this, help me, bring a stick, there's a snake," and it was coming for him, and here he is with his legs either side of this narrow flight, and I couldn't get in there because the door was too narrow. So he was yelling out for me to help him. I couldn't get in there. So he decided he'd better change that, and we got rid of those aviaries.
In 1990, we called the place. We got the place registered with the council, and called it Rosewood Bird Gardens and Breeding Farm. And we built this shed down the back. If everybody knows my place, they know where that shed is. It looks a bit different now, but we turned it into a pet shop. Sell pets in there. We had so many people come in there. And we also used to sell garden ornaments, next one. And that concrete artistry, we sell tables and chairs and ornaments of all different things. And we'd have a 3-ton truck turn up late Friday, and people would be waiting at home at 7 o'clock at night and transferring all the stuff straight on it. It was going all around southeast Queensland. That shed we now turned into a quarantine shed. These aviaries we built in about 1992 because I needed some lorikeets and I had nowhere to put them. So, and I also managed to breed, which no one else had at the time, some pied little lorikeets. And unfortunately, I was offered big money for them, and one dropped dead, and I thought, well, I'm not going to sell the other one, I'll keep it. And about 18 months later, it died, so I lost them all. That's 5 of my children, all grown up now, of course. Next one. Yeah, it's a view from the back door, looking out the backyard. Couple of my girls, my young son. And we had a lot of birds, but we had nowhere to put them. And we always had these little cocky cages, and they used to end up in there. Next one. And we started getting bigger. We pulled down the old wooden flights and built these high, big flights. But the only problem is we never had a walkway on them. And, you know, when you lose a few birds, you think, well, you know, I've lost $2,000 or $3,000 worth of birds, I better put a walkway on. So we put a walkway on it. But as you can see in that photo, we still got the pine trees. That was before they all died. We planted a few gum trees too, which was bad news. We had to get them cut out. 1994, I bought a pair of black cockatoos from northern New South Wales. I picked them up on the way home from an Abe's convention. The fellow that I bought them off told me that they'd lay eggs in 4 weeks. And I thought, well, yeah, I've heard that before. But he was right. They did lay. And within 4 weeks, I had eggs. Next one. And then I had a chick. That photo there is, yeah, I had a fellow working for me that wanted to put a black cockatoo mural on the shed. And when I first got the black cockatoo chick, the mum wouldn't feed it. So I met these people from the Downs Bird Breeders. No, go back. From the Downs Bird Breeders Club, Gary and Shirley Walsh. Most people might know them. And Shirley decided she'd hand raise it for me. We ended up with 2 birds, that season, but I only had them for a little while. No, there was three, sorry. Slim, Nick and Bunny. That one that's in the egg there was still alive, but we called him Nick because he just come along in the nick of time.
And Slim had a slim chance of living.
But anyway, that's some couple of red tails that were up at Shirley and Gary Walsh's, and we did finish them off, but weaning them. It's the two birds. As you could see, we had nowhere to put them. We had to build more flights. That was in our old kitchen. I bought myself a polystyrene incubator, a Bell South, and a brooder, and I thought, well, I'm going to have a go at this myself. It's just another photo of it, Easter 1995. I remember the first chick hatched, and I couldn't go anywhere. Julie had organised with the children. She'd taken to Bribie Island, so I stayed home to look after the chicks.
The start of many holidays with the kids by myself.
Next one. Yeah, just feeding the little bloke. We was a bit green, but next one. Couple of the little ones. That was still in our house where we had them photos. That was the next year we bred some more, but as I see, we started getting some of the aviaries built. A lot of these first flights here are only 900 wide and 6 metres long, but down where that pipe's coming out of the ground, they're all cockatoo flights.
The smaller ones are for the parrots.
That was, you can see the walkway after we done the first section, and then we never had enough flights again, so I thought, well, we better build another row. There's some of the birds we kept in those flights, mostly natives, and I used to try and do all pure and true to type. And I needed more aviaries, and I needed them in a hurry because I had birds ordered, so I had to get some cheap labour and put her up on the roof to put some tech screws in because the birds were coming the next day.
And she's scared of heights. She can go up the ladders, but she can't come down.
I knew she wouldn't fall off because there's plenty of room up on the roof. Yeah, that was an old photo. That was the old Kodak cameras didn't do much. That's after we got the second flight done, and we put the water on because there was too many to water by hand, so we just flicked the lever to water the whole lot. It wasn't long before I started getting a few more black cockatoos, and it wasn't long before we got more eggs and more black cockatoos. That was a bit of a problem with the logs, finding the logs. I used to follow the council around, or the main roads department, when they were putting in new roads, and one of them had me on speed dial, and if he found a hollow tree with it knocked over, I'd have about 24 hours to get it.
And every year we'd have to burn out the centre because there was always something vermin in it, or some lice or something, and yeah, they eventually needed to be replaced.
That photo was taken when I had an interview with the Courier Mail once. They came out and wrote a big story, and half of it was a bit concocted, I think, because it didn't read that well in the paper. It's just a couple of chicks that we bred. My daughter with a baby sulphur-crested cockatoo. That I ended up putting that bird in a bigger cage, and it was 50-50 weld mesh on the bottom, and a fox come along and pulled its legs off one night. Yeah, we had a few taxidermy too, and prior to I used to collect them. They weren't all mine. They didn't cost anything to feed.
I like them.
And then we started Avery visits, and Downs bird breeders came and visited. I think that was the first coach that came, but since then we've probably had 30 or 40. You probably mostly know who these people are. Les Banks and his wife. That's 30 years ago. That's Gary Walsh and his wife. Just a few photos around the backyard at the time. She was pretty primitive. And yeah, had the barbecue. That was, I think that's Eldred Harch. That's my son, my main helper at the time. Me right-hand man.
He used to watch his dad, so when I'd hear these buzzsaw or some instrument going or machinery going, I'd think Barry was home. I'd go out and it'd be Warren trying to emulate his father and building little nest boxes.
He could weld at 10. Then we built ourselves a bird room, and it was a bit primitive there at the time. We had an old desk in there, and we just had cocky cages. We started breeding. Go back. We started breeding quite a few cockatoos. That was 2010. We were probably breeding about 20 a year there.
Or feeding them rota bush.
Next one. It's another Avery visit. Not sure which club that was. I can't pick them. Next one. Yeah, that's Avery visit. The missus chatting up a few people. I got an idea that this club was from the Gold Coast. Next one. I'm not sure about this one. I bought some Major Mitchells just around 1998, and I had a lot of success with them. I had 2 or 3 pairs, and I got them breeding, going gangbusters, and I remember, just hold it there. I remember one day we were at work and we got a phone call, and it was the National Parks and Wildlife, and they said they were at my property and they wanted to cut the locks to go in and have a look. I said, no, I'll tell you where the keys are. So I told them where the keys were, and I said, in that first thing, the first Avery, you'll find 3 chicks in the nest. Oh, no, but you won't want us to have a look at them. They'll leave the nest. I said, no, they're used to it. I said, go and have a look at another one. There's a couple in there. And anyway, they thanked me very much. They rang me and said, oh, we're not worried about you. But the last place they'd been he had 8 chicks from 2 cockbirds. So. And I had to ring him up a couple of weeks later and say the hen was sitting back on 3 eggs because I took the chicks. There's a few of them. Next one. We're always short of cages for some reason. That was a hexagonal. I won that at Abe's convention. It was a star brackets, and you just get all the brackets, and you cut your steel to whatever length you want it. So I cut a whole length of steel in half and joined all the stars together, and that's what I ended up with. 1998, I had a brain tumour, and they gave me 3 months to live, and I got a bit down the dumps, but I got over it, and an ad come out in one of the Australian agriculture magazines that they offered this degree in Australia at the Charles Sturt University at Bathurst for the first time ever, and there was over 1,000 put in for it, and they took one agriculturist, and that was me. But I never went to school. I only went to year 7. I was the eldest of 10 children. My dad got me exempt from school, so I had no schooling, but I thought I'd done.
Tell them how you introduced yourself to the class.
Oh, yeah, well, there was a doctor, a lawyer, a botanist, a musician, an agriculturalist. There was all walks of life. They took 23. Next one.
and they were all introducing themselves, and I've got a degree in this, and I've got a degree in that, I've got a master's in this and a master's in that. And Barry got up to introduce himself, and what did he say? I've got a thermometer that's got degrees on it.
Now, when we had so many chicks and birds and we wanted to go away for a weekend to go and visit people, we had to put all the brooders in the car and stack the kids in around them and nurse them. How far we were going? I think we were going to Kingaroy that day, but the big problem was the brooders took too many amps to run them, and I had a concoction thing that I had plugged into the cigarette lighter, and everything was all hunky-dory when we left home. We got down the road about half an hour and the fuse blew, and I put another fuse in, and it blew.
So he got me to go into the grocery store and buy hot chickens.
So we bought a hot chicken and put in there to keep the babies warm. And anyway, the chook cooled down about half an hour, 3/4 an hour later, and I could see the bird getting cold, the little chick. So we had to go into another store and buy another one. And everywhere we went, we took cold chooks.
We assured them they were okay.
That was 2004, 5, and that was the first time we bred a glossy. We did hatch plenty of chicks, but we only ever got 3 on the perch out of the first 30, except there was 1 or 2 that come out of the logs that the parents looked after. I think I got photos of that. That's a video of the glossy chicks hatching.
The interesting thing about the glossy, we learned, is that they break their own umbilical cord.
Difficult to hand raise because they have a different crop set up to all other black cockatoos. Have a pendulum, which is like an egg timer. You turn it upside down, it runs through. But all the other black cockatoos have a muscular crop, and the crop rolls the food over and turns it. Okay, next. That was the glossy in the log. That one actually hatched, and we had it for 3 years, and I built a quick nest log for it, and on the bottom of the nest log I didn't have any ply, so I found some melamine and I put it on the bottom, and the bird ate all all the melamine, and it got crook, and I took it to Dr. Bob Donnelly, and it had melamine poisoning, and it didn't live very long. Yeah, it wasn't long before we had lots of coaches turning up. We probably had 30 over the years. Like this is the Gold Coast clubs. That was just another club that came. They had dinner one day because it was shower and rain in the shed.
In actual fact, I think I can see Klaus in there.
Next one. That aviary, that little one on this end, that's a holding aviaries for lorikeets, because I had so many lorikeets I had nowhere to put them. In that set of 8, that's just looking from the inside out and from the outside in. Their hides, it's like a hide for because we get a lot of hawks, and the hawks come and sit on top of the aviaries, and yeah, it's a real problem. These are lorikeet plights that we built. That's the back walkway. That's inside the walkway again. Outside, there's 30 in that row altogether. Flicked the lever and fill them all with water. We had a lot of success with lorikeets. Bred them by the hundreds. Next one. Then my son grew up and he wanted to be a builder, so he got excited, and he was building every time he had spare minute. He was welding and putting iron up and, yep. When we really started getting a lot of black cockatoos and a lot of eggs, we had a lot of eggs that the birds wouldn't sit on. And it's just a couple of photos of yellowtails and redtails. But we bred up to 35 a year. We breed. Some young ones there that I'm feeding. I think we've been very lucky, but we've actually bred over 700 black cockatoos since 1994. Reds, yellows and whites. And all seem to have a sale for them. Going back in the late 90s, we put a website together, and I think that's what done the trick, because there's thousands and thousands of people going to that website. And then Facebook come along, and we got 9,700 followers. It's a bird gardens and breeding farm.
Just looking at these birds Barry's feeding them, they all used to sit in their turn. They'd take their turn, and no one ever got out of turn. And if Barry tried to feed one before the other, they would really object to that.
One thing I used to do there, I done wrong. They are big eaters, and I'd feed them 60 mils each. But the problem is, they done well, but I couldn't wean them because their crops were so stretched. And it was taking 9-10 months to wean them. So now they get fed 25 mils only. And they wean in 5 to 6 months. It's just a weaning flight. I wanted to keep some birds for myself, so had to have somewhere to put them, so we knocked up a cage. I started writing for BirdKeeper in 2010. I think I wrote 40 articles on all the different Australian native parrots, from all the different lorikeets, rosellas, all the broadtails, black cockatoos. A lot of work. I put a lot into it. Later on, after all the pine trees died, we planted cane palms and we had our other aviaries, and we sort of made it into a walk through. That was a lot later. You can see the habitat there after we pulled the net off it. That's my son helping me move an aviary flight. Where there's a will, there's a way. Between the big rows, it was a real problem cleaning it up. So I have a lot of waterfowl. There's not too many there, but out in the next row there's probably 25, 30 waterfowl in the flights. And we do breed black swans. Then I needed more. I needed another 80 or 90, so we started there, and I got 60 in that row. There's 40 there, and I was down the bottom. These are for all the galahs and a lot of Major Mitchells and some white cockatoos. All these flights. That's finished. Not a real good photo, but I did plant all the trees years before I planted before I built the aviaries, so that they'd have plenty of shade. Next one. At the end of the Galah, Corella, so forth, Major Mitchell flights, there's a lot of suspendeds, and that was just a suspended that had to go down the end there. There's 40 of them. That's galahs that were hatching out, and we were trying to wean. All Major Mitchell galahs, Corellas, sulphurs. That was when we just started to build that section. We ended up with 40. Just kept joining them on. It only took 4 or 5 months, and they were all built. Yeah, as you can see there, that's finished. But that all now is full of waterfowl in that run. And that's at the back of that run. All the nest boxes, there's 40 there in the back, and then that row. Then I had another little spare spot I found. I could put some eccollectus parrots and a couple of flights. So, yeah, bred lots of them.
I've still got a spot.
Just a photo of the backyard back in the early 2000s. Then we decided we'd cover in the old habitat, and we took that photo one day when the workplace health and safety officer wasn't around. But it's amazing what you can do. Put them long sheets on there and heavy gauge mesh. Macaws didn't chew it either. But we did have a lot of black cockatoos in there at one stage. The computer went down, we couldn't find the photos. Had a spare spot out behind the quarantine shed after we built the black cocky flight, so I thought I'll just square that off with the shed, and so we got 8 flights behind with all different parrots in them, and a socialising cage to put a lot of young ones in so they can socialise and bicker and carry on and get it out of their system. In 2014 we had the most terrible rat plague, and it was all over our area everywhere. We were shooting 500 a week with the rat shot in the dark, and we were going through bait like you wouldn't believe. And that bucket of rats there, well, actually there was 2 full buckets and a half a bucket. I put some fumigation tablets down the holes, and within 3 hours we filled those buckets. But mind you, we'd been shooting 500 a week, and we thought we'd shot the whole lot of them. We'd shoot till about 10 o'clock at night, and one night we set the alarm clock because we thought we hadn't got them all, and it come to 2 o'clock in the morning, went out. It was like unbelievable. There was hundreds and hundreds of them because they got used to us shooting till 10 o'clock, so they come out at 11.
I will add, we had a great system to shoot them. My job was to hold to give him the ammunition. So I was holding the ammunition, also the hose, and I'd have to hose down to the hole looking for. And when the rats would come out, I'd have to give him another, we call it rat shot, to put it in to kill them. And it was pretty dangerous work because I had to hold the door open at the same time. And
But we picked up 500 rats in 3 hours, and that's only the ones that made it out. Those girls come to work for us, Rico and Samugi. They were at the Gatton University, and they came for work experience and stayed for 9 years. They helped us with our other business as well because we've got a cleaning business. Excellent. That was in 2015 in New Zealand. Went over and done a PowerPoint. I done 2 actually over there. Excellent. And that was Mark Davies. He took us around his place where him and his mum used to be. Not sure about that one. Next one.
Barry's been kind. He's got my hat on. On top of his.
Then we had the opportunity. We got invited to go to India to talk at the Agricultural Society India convention, and we went to Jurong Bird Park in Singapore, and we were given a grand tour, and by a fellow by the name of Rupert Gui, and the curator. I can't think of a name. It's just a couple of photos while we're over there, and those are 2 big sheds, and he had 2,000 pairs of birds in those sheds. It was absolutely amazing, but I will say that there would have been a quarter of them that needed a pair of pyjamas because they'd plucked from not having any light, I believe. Next one. That was in India. at the convention. The room they had the convention in, there was only could only seat 500, and there was 1,000 trying to get in the door. It was amazing. They took us for a boat ride. When we were in India, they took us on a tour. They took us on a 10-day tour. Anil Garg's property. That was in some of the motels we stayed in. Absolutely amazing. Marble, and it just blow you away. There was people waiting they guarded the motels with double-barrel shotguns, and when the coach pulled in, they'd put the mirrors underneath the coach to make sure nobody was hiding underneath. To get into the motel, it was like going through security at the airport. You had to put all your bags and everything, go through a scanner to get in. And they looked after us so well that you'd get in there at 9 o'clock at night and they'd ask you if you had any washing. You give them a T-shirt, and 2 hours later it'd come back on a cardboard slide with a bow tie on it. That was Sultan's place, and the coach. They had their own catering. They followed us around the country for 10 days, and all these catering people, and they cooked all different meals. Like there was Mexican, Chinese, Thai, Indian, more Indian, but no Australian. That was another big collection we went to, and I really had my eyes open there, and I walked in and some of the first birds I saw were Australian eckies. Another one. Just some of the ones that were at conference. That fellow is part of the royal family. He had a very posh house. He's very wealthy. Next one. Yeah, we went to this fellow, and he's got hundreds of birds, and all those birds sitting on the perches. There would have been 50 different types, even macaws, militaries, all the different macaws, and they're all tame. They even had crimson-winged cockbirds and king parrots, and everything was quiet. And there's Julie with a pesket parrot. But everything was super tame. Couldn't believe how many red and blue lorikeets he had. There would have been 60 or 80 in one plot.
Barry can't eat Indian food because if he does, he turns into a penguin. And it's a very quick walk to the little men's room.
That was a banana leaf, and they put all the curry on it, and my eyes were burning just looking at it.
So is the other end.
We visited the man in Chennai that feeds all the Indian ringnecks, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. He feeds them rice. Yeah. That was in Agra. They took us to the Taj Mahal. Pretty primitive. A lot of the places around there was very primitive, but we won't go into that. That was in 2020, an aerial shot of our property. Next one. We replaced all the timber logs. We started to replace them all with poly. It was a relief. We got rid of all them old timber logs. It was amazing, and I'd never seen birds breed so well in poly, especially black cockatoos. They camouflaged in there. They loved them. You'd put a new log in the morning, and the hen would be sitting in the afternoon. That's African grey flight. That was in 2016. I was a bit crook at the time, and the New Zealanders were over here, and a couple of them came and helped Julie finish it off. I think might have been Paul and what's his name? Mark Davies. Yeah. Anyway, next one. We call it the temple. It's just a flight area, photo of the back area. Next one. Then we needed some more gang cages because I needed 5 flights.
This is my project, this one. And we bought it in on the trailer, a car trailer. It was made out the back in Barry's shed. And then we had to move it around, which was, we put it on logs and sat it on bricks. And that's it there.
There's some more gang flights. They're not real big, some of them, but birds love them. Another gang flight. There was like plenty of chewings. They're just an old hollow hanging up and they get in there. But since that photo was taken, they've actually destroyed it and it's in 2 pieces now.
That back part there with the roof on it, that was that little cage that had where Rachel was with the cockatoo, our daughter, and so Barry's modified it and turned it into an aviary.
Modified it with weld mesh and put a flight on it. Cage number 50 it was. These ones here, I was offered these. A fellow at the Gold Coast, well actually he sold them to another fellow at down where Klaus lives, and he bought them and he didn't know what he was going to do with them, and he said if I wanted them I can have them. So yeah, it was 18, 19, that's inside the flight. Next one. More inside. That's inside the nursery at a later date, and we actually had 35 chicks in the nursery, plus what was out in the flights. That was, I went to, we went for a trip to WA, and we found those 2 birds on the bottom. Or we found an aviary full of them actually. An aviary full. It was 7 birds. And when I saw them, I thought, well, they're very different. And I said to the old fellow, what are you going to do with them? He said, I'm going to sell them to you. And he made me an offer I couldn't refuse. And I kept looking at them. And when I got them home, I couldn't believe how different they were. And I found out that he'd had them for, they'd been in captivity for 20-something years, but they were actually trapped in a hay shed near Kununurra. So I flew over to Perth and I got into the museum and had a good look around to see if I could find any birds, specimens from that area, and there was none. And they're only in a 100-kilometre radius of Kununurra. So there was no specimens, because where the specimens are found, they're identified with the longitude and the latitude. So next one. After we got them home, I decided, well, we got to find out if they're different. And we got onto these fellows over in Poland, and we done some sequencing on all the 4 different subspecies of short-billed corellas, the 3 subspecies of long-billed corellas, 3 subspecies of galahs, all the subspecies of the yellowtail, whitetail, redtail, and the Major Mitchell's, mollis and the other one. And we sent them over there. We had to get a permit from the Canberra to get them to get the stuff out of the country, the feces and everything. And these 2 scientists, they done the sequencing. It took quite a long time, and they were they got the sequencing finished, but they didn't get the publication done, and COVID turned up, and COVID took over their laboratory to make COVID vaccine. And a few weeks ago, when we were over in Czech Republic, they drove 700 kilometres to catch up with us, and the print and the readout of all that they found is still getting done.
Those graphs there on the Calyptorhynchus, and they're just showing the overlap of the beaks and the differences in the sizes, and we can see I've got the paperwork with where it tells us that they're all different and they're not related. So you can see there the raw analysis for the Calyptorhynchus showed their samuli are all separate species. So that's was really interesting to learn all that, and we're still waiting for the Escondidas ones.
When we got the, or when they knew the Escondidas was different, they wanted to name it, but they had to get onto the Royal Ornithologists Union, which head honcho was Ron Johnson, and Ron said, well, we'll name it Escondidas, which is the means in Latin, hidden from plain sight. So that's how it got its name. There's some white-tailed chicks there, old photos that were taken in 17 and 19. Bordens and Carnabies. That was a rare one that come up. I've had a couple of them. Unfortunately, you get them up, they sit on the perch, they look good. You go out the next morning, they're upside down on the floor. It's something to do with the liver and kidney problem. It's just a few chicks. Yeah, weaning cages and somewhere to put birds that you want to keep for future. So we got these longer flights, they're 8 and 9 metres long. And we had all these yellowtails in there. They were doing fantastic. But as soon as they got to the 5th year, 1 or 2 of the cockbirds got nasty and they tried to kill all the other cockbirds. So you can keep them there for 4 years, but not in the 5th year. Just a couple other photographs. Next one. Yeah, that's another lot of suspended aviaries that I sort of got conned into.
See who the hard worker is. She did the
They were full of Nerethra bluebonnets, yep. Just another flight there, but there's no black cockatoos in there. There's a pair of scarlet macaws. Next one. Just a later one of that habitat. And some of my long-time pets that are 50 and 60-year-old, they're like babies. That was over in Olomouc in Czech Republic. And we went to that Exotica Bird Expo. It was absolutely amazing. There's 2 stories of it. And that's just one little section. They had everything from waterfowl to pheasants to lorries, Amazons, Australian black cockatoos, budgerigars, all the finches, canaries. It was absolutely amazing. And there's tens of thousands of people visit that show every year. And right across the road from it, about 250, 300 metres away, is where the Czech Bird Convention was being held. That's just a photo of me up there doing my presentation. There's just a few photos of home, how it's changed in the last 40 years, my back driveway. Just out the back door. That's between the house and the shed, just walkways, and took away all the old railway sleepers that used to be there 30 years ago at the White Ants 8 and nearly went rotten. Thanks. Just another looking out into the backyard. It looks a bit more like home now than it did 45 years ago. That's out in my back paddock. I did build that pond. I built it with the idea that I was going to put a big flight over it and net it and fill it up with waterfowl, but yeah, second in charge didn't give me the okay. That's just a go back. That's just a looking back towards the main road. I've still got room to put more aviaries, but nah, no more. I got to start winding down a little bit.
It might be a cemetery.
Excellent. That's just a few birds Julie took around the yard. She's got dozens of them. We got a lot of visitors. Thank you, everybody.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. That was great. And hot chook, hey? So have to try that one. Stay up here. There might be a few. There'll no doubt be a few questions. I'll just turn the lights on. Got any questions for starters? Stay up there. And anyone got a question at all? I'll just flick the lights on.
The birds ate $34,000 worth of food last year and 10 tonne of seed. A lot of fruit and veggies.
And now he gives them sprouts, so that's extra.
Yeah, I have done sprouts for a long time, but
$200 to $300 every month or more.
they get well looked after. Hit their sprouts and their performance powder and.
So it costs probably about $3,000 or $4,000 every 6 weeks.
The lorikeet food costs a few dollars, wet and dry mix. But 300 and 700 birds at one stage, but I've started to cut down on. I cut down a little bit. You know what happens?
Anybody who's interested in some of the parrots? Birds?
She wants to cut down a few.
Make him an offer.
What was that? No. I used to, but don't anymore.
It's only rat shot.
Oh, no. Well, the birds didn't react to it all. We had miners' helmets on, and we walked around for the first night, and the birds got used to us. They didn't, because the birds are all pretty quiet anyway. And but we were shooting at night, you know, with the rat shot, with the 22. But the birds don't mind the guns.
But in the daytime we would...
Because we use the 410 a lot with crawly things. Brown stuff. And we wouldn't know...
They're big earthworms.
We wouldn't know the snakes were there only for the birds. And since 1st of September, I've seen 22, counting the one today. Only see them once. Lots of them. Unbelievable. But we generally, it's not uncommon to see 30 brown snakes in a season. I wouldn't know they were there, only the black cockatoos scream, Major Mitchell's scream, everything screams, all the cockies. And you know which ones scream and which flight and which aviary flight even, you just go straight there.
I will tell a funny story about when Barry was out in one of the aviaries and there was some rat holes and he was wanting to, I'll eat it in a minute, he was wanting to get down to the back to check the nest and I was standing at the door and I could see this thing coming up out of one of the holes right between Barry's legs and I'm yelling at him, you know, just stand still, stand still. Well, he saw what was down between his legs, down on the ground between his legs, and he was jumping and screaming and carrying on. I've never heard anything like it before. And of course, what did I do? I shut the door and ran too. So, because I didn't want it to get me.
But it's quite often in the early part of the spring, you'll see two snakes mating in the same cage. Yeah. And some of these things are huge. I mean, I took the measuring thing out there a few weeks ago, 1.8 metres, this brown, and he's almost as thick as my wrist. And on Sunday, I was away and I come home, and Julie's on the phone to me saying, "Where are you?" I said, "I'm backing in the garage." She said, "Quick, come out the back. I'm bailed up I can't go past the door of one of the flights." I goes in there, and it's a taipan. And he was savage. And I haven't seen too many of them over the years, only a handful, but it was definitely a taipan and big. Yeah.
Oh, stay up here. Thank you very much for that. And for those playing at home, a 410 is a special length of stick that you use to release the snakes. Yes, yep. All right. Look, thank you very much again. Much appreciated. And we've just got a little certificate for you.
Very nice.
Oh, mate, yeah. Yes. Well, thank you very much. That was great. Jude, stuff's ready to raffle. Jude, how are we going up there? Okay, all right. Well, if we's Katie. Yeah, well, we'll just do the raffle first, if you like. Katie, gone.